Now we want to add a separator between each item in this list. There are two ways to achieve this. We can go to our list item component and add a border below each item. We just need to apply a style. The problem with this approach is that we'll end up with an extra line after the last item. Then we'll have to do some hacking to remove the border from the last item. Not a good solution. The better solution is to use a separator component. Let me show you. So this flat list component has a prop called item separator component. Look at the naming convention. I is capitalized, so it's different from the other props because here we have to pass a component. So we can pass a function component here. So this is where we pass props for that component, but in this case, we don't need props. So that's why I'm passing an empty pair of parentheses. So here we want to render a view. We can use the self-closing syntax. Now we need to apply a bunch of styles here. So for now, I'm going to write these styles inline so you can see how this component works. And then we're going to come back and refactor our code. So I'm going to set the width of this view to 100%, its height to 1 pixel, and its background color to black for now. Okay, save the changes, take a look. We got this error because I didn't import the view component. So let's fix that real quick. Here's the view. So here's our separator. And as you can see, we don't have this separator after the last item. Beautiful. Now back to our code. There is a problem with this implementation. It is very likely that we're going to have another list of items somewhere else in our app. We don't want to repeat all this code every time we want to render a separator. So let's encapsulate this view inside a reusable component. So we go to our project and in the components folder, add a new file called list item separator. We add a function component. Now I'm going to move the code that we wrote to our new component. So we just want to render a view like this, right? So cut this. Now let's return this view over here. Now we're going to create our styles using the style sheet API. So let's import style sheet and then use it over here. So let's call this key separator. Now here we're going to set the width to 100%, the height to 1 pixel, and the background color. I'm going to use a light gray color that we should bring from our color palette. So let's import our color palette on the top. So import colors from, we go to config and load the colors module. Now we set the background color to colors dot. We don't have this light gray, so let's add it real quick. We go to our colors module. We have medium gray, so let's add light gray. Let's set this to F8, F4, F4. Save. Now back to our new component. So here we set the background color to colors dot light. Good. Now finally, let's apply our new style. So let's get rid of this object and set the style to styles.separator. Also, we don't need the props, so let's clean up our code. So now we have a reusable separator that we can use in multiple places in our app. So back to the messages screen. I'm going to replace this function with our function component. So list item separator. Now save the changes. We have this error because we didn't import the view component in our separator component. So let's import the view. Okay, now here's our separator. The light gray is very subtle. You can make it darker if you prefer. I'm happy with it for now. There's just one more thing I want to improve. We need some padding in our list item because currently the content is so close to the edges of the screen. So let's go to our list item component. So we have a bunch of styles for our container. This is where we can apply the padding. So down the bottom, here's our container. Let's give it a padding of 20 pixels. Okay, it looks much better. What if we set it to 15? I think that's perfect. So next we're going to talk about handling selections.